Does he or doesn't he want to defund the police? The position of Joe Biden. President Trump is hitting the campaign trail hard, and he's out there doing live events. North Carolina, Michigan, Las Vegas. I mean, it's good. These are outdoor events. They're great capacity crowds. Nothing like the days when he was allowed to have 25 or 50,000 people show up. But even without breaking a sweat, he is still drawing 100 times more people than Joe Biden could if he was paying people to be there. And one of the things that the president is hitting Joe Biden hard on is defund the police. And we understand that the president's conviction and political strategy, which are one and the same on this issue, are law and order. That we look at the rioting and the lawlessness in our streets, and we don't want that. And yes, we are seeing a rise in some what we would consider to be Trump-type supporters out there now taking things into their own hands. Well, the longer that people watch their cities and their communities deteriorate into lawlessness, the patriots, the people who love their country, love their communities, they get to a place where they just say, that's enough. Or as Popeye would say, that's all I can stand, because I can't stand no more. And they just take it upon themselves to say, that's it. And of course, that just fuels the left to say, see, these nuts that support Trump, these gun right nuts, we're not safe, even though it is 99 to 1, it is the violence on the far left that we see being portrayed in the streets. Now, said all that to say this. Joe Biden wants to defund the police, and he's being asked this a lot. And now I want you to listen to his answer, and then we're going to go to the videotape, and we're going to show you what else he has said, and then I'm going to explain.
If you watch the ads, I'm sure you've seen them, although a lot of Pennsylvanians are seeing them because there's a lot of ads out there right now. They would say that you want to defund the police, and it seems to be trying to frighten some folks. Can you set the record straight on that?
I not only don't want to defund the police, I'm the one calling for $300 million more for local police.
Okay, so he emphatically says not only does he not want to defund the police, he wants to give them additional funding. Let me explain what he's saying here after we take a little look at this. This is going back a couple of months when he gave an interview with Now This, which is a far left, ultra progressive alternative media. And he was asked the question again, not about defunding police, catch the nuance, redirecting the funding.
The last thing you need is an up-armored Humvee coming into a neighborhood. It's like the military invading. They don't know anybody. They become the enemy. They're supposed to be protecting these people. So my generic point is that...
Do we agree that we can redirect some of the funding?
Yes, absolutely. The last thing you need is an up-armored Humvee coming into a neighborhood. It's like the military invading. They don't know anybody. They become the enemy. They're supposed to be protecting these people. So my generic point is that...
Do we agree that we can redirect some of the funding?
Yes, absolutely.
It would be very easy for us to do what, unfortunately, a lot do in conservative media on this particular issue, this particular question with Joe Biden, and just write it off as, it's Dementia Joe again. Can't keep straight, can't remember that he was for defunding the police before he was refunding the police. And no, it's not that simplistic. This is not something he's forgotten. This is classic, and this should outrage even the left. This is classic pandering, and at the same time, not wanting to let go of the fact that what you've accomplished, you're proud of it, even if you're not allowed to say that you're proud of it. Joe Biden is trying to walk both sides of the fence here. And this is not because of dementia. This is the old political animal instinct in him. He's trying to walk both sides of the fence here. He knows that the progressive part of the Democratic Party is all about defund the police. He also understands That's just plain stupid, and it is. Even Al Sharpton came out today. Maybe defunding the police not a great idea. New York feels a lot less safe. Duh! You do away with the police, what do you think is going to happen? I mean, even in Seattle, where they have voted to actually disband the police, it's funny. All the members of the city council have their own private security details. Well, I guess you can vote and sound like a wonderfully in-touch utopian liberal when you give your speeches and you appeal to that base of we don't want police, we just want to live in nirvana. You can give those speeches when you got your own private security detail protecting you. It's like Nancy Botox Pelosi trying to make people think that she's one of them when she lives in a gated community, and I can guarantee you that the security detail of her neighborhood will make sure that no peaceful protesters ever walk down the streets of where Nancy lives. But he's doing classic political doublespeak. He is saying, I am for giving the police more money. That's what he thinks the law and order people want to hear. And he knows that's going to upset the progressive left. So on the one hand, he does talk about we have to have law and order. Yeah, if you really love people, you got to have law and order. But then he's also talking about we're going to redirect that money. We're going to take money that goes to the police, and we're going to fund social workers and psychiatrists. And so what he's doing is he's defunding the police, funding other things that he says will be used by the police. You catch the nuance there? And it is total nuance. And this allows him to go out and say, I have not said I would defund the police. And on that point, Biden, even though he's got dementia, is technically right. It's just the old political instinct in him, how to answer a question without answering it. And he can honestly say, look, you're not going to find one clip of me ever saying defund the police. What he wants to do is redirect the money. So we'll keep these numbers really simple so that the math is easy to follow. Let's say you could fund an entire police department for $100. Obviously, we're talking hundreds of millions of dollars, but we're going to keep it very simple. Let's say you could fund an entire police department for $100. Here's what Joe Biden is proposing. Hey, I want to give every police department $150. So on the one hand, the law and order people think, see, he wants to increase police funding. But then what he's saying is, but what I want to do is I want to take $75 and I want to bring on psychiatrists and social workers, and we're going to redirect. And you know what? They don't need any more, real, stringent weapons. I don't care if it's a big city where they could have the possibility of mass riots. They don't need any type of equipment to disperse any of that. That just makes them the enemy of the people. Now, did you hear what he did there? Do you get what he's doing? You're going to fund a police department at $100 a year. He says, hey, let's up it to $150. But I'm going to take 75 of that and I'm going to spend it over here. So what he's actually done is he has cut defunded police $25, taking them down to 75, and he's taking the other 75, and so we're going to spend it over here on other stuff. It's political doublespeak. He is for defunding the police, not by taking money away from them. No, nay. That allows him to say, it's not me that wants to cut police budgets, it's Donald Trump. But what he's saying is he wants, at the federal level, the government to control what each and every local police department spends their money on. His cabinet, his administration, the actual puppeteers, they will decide what the police get to spend their money on. So it's not going to necessarily be on more police officers. It's not going to be on new police cars. It's going to be on sensitivity training, And it's going to be on, having yoga instructors talk to the police on how to de-escalate using herbs and ninja Buddha music and, just a bunch of hogwash, all designed to placate to the far left. And in the meantime, these loons are burning cities down, setting each other on fire, and now they're even out there threatening that if Trump does win re-election, they are going to scale up these riots and they will never stop. And Joe Biden's answer is, let's send out psychologists and social workers on these 911 domestic calls because they're nonviolent. How do you know they're nonviolent? When he says things like, we're not going to have any more of this, just, the police going in unless we absolutely know they're... How do you know what's on the other side of that door? How do you know? Are you psychic? And when there's all these new rules and restrictions of handcuffing literally how the police do their job, they have to play by rules. What does this do to the criminals who play by no rules? And now they've got a libloon set of policies that are pushed by everybody from Bill de Blasio to even Joe Biden. Let's not have bail. Let's just catch and release. Let's empty our prisons because there's coronavirus. And if they kill someone again, well, then they got to go back. Good luck finding them. And wow, you're going to chase them down during a pandemic when they never should have been released to begin with. But you'll arrest people in California for going to church. People who go to church will go to jail. People in jail for murder can get out so they don't get the virus. This is the warped thinking of the liberal left. And this is where Joe Biden is at. But there's still enough of his political animal instinct still left in him. So I would caution Mr. President, don't underestimate him even at these debates. There's still enough of the old Joe in that fog in there that he's able to tap into. It's not about him saying defund the police. It's about redirecting the money and the control. That needs to become what he gets exposed for, because he really is not going to defund the police. He's just going to redirect the money. And there's also another part of him that he can't be completely for defunding the police because he is the author of the crime bill, which has disproportionately destroyed Black America. That's something, Mr. President, you need to hammer him on, because there's a part of him that in his bullheaded stubbornness, he doesn't want to admit that that was bad policy. He wants to be proud of that accomplishment. Hammer him on that in the debates. Hey, that's it for this rant. Thank you so much for watching. Give us a thumbs up and a great big like. Make sure you have smacked the bell and clicked the word all to get notification of my next rant.